What's up, Monica Perez?
Nothing. I was just sharing. You know, I can't do two things at once.
Did I not give you enough
remember
time?
what happened when I shared wrong?
Yeah, you sent everybody the link to be on the video with us. I started having like people on my dashboard ready to join the conversation.
In their
like,
PJs and stuff, right?
They're popping up literally like popcorn.
Why, they could be naked. Was anybody naked?
I don't know. I was trying to close it like when pop-up windows come on with inappropriate ads.
Like a whack-a-mole.
It was bad. Hey, listen, before we get started, I've got two things. I got two things for you. First of all, I'm going to post this up and let you tell everybody why I'm posting it. And I posted this for two reasons. One, it's because you sent me a message. And two, it's to kind of poke you a little bit. So I'm going to hide for a second. So why do I have a birthday meme up?
Yeah. I know why. It's Franny's birthday.
There you go.
Happy birthday, Franny. Is Franny here?
I don't know, not
She's
yet.
Here. Maybe because it's her birthday, she's not here. Let me type it.
I got to wish her a happy
friend of mine.
Well, I got to wish her a happy birthday and use a Donald Trump meme, which I know you love Donald Trump.
I do.
So, yeah.
I love all of God's creatures, no matter how orange.
Oh, that was
I don't care about that. No, I don't care about that.
I don't care about it.
I don't care if he's orange.
Hey, with all the crap going on in the streets nowadays, though, surely you're liking Donald Trump more and more.
Yeah, because he's preventing it. Oh, wait. I don't. Why?
Well, he could prevent
Why would
it,
I
but
like him?
He's giving the states to the power.
Oh my gosh. You're going to beat me down. He's giving the states the power. Do you hear yourself?
He's not overstepping his power. He's just going, y'all fix it. And they're not fixing it. And then they're blaming him for it. I don't get it.
It's all a game. Don't you see?
So
a game he is playing. We are not
game that's been played since we've played this game for.
But we're not on the same team as him. He's on the same team as Nancy Pelosi.
Let's stop it right now.
It's true.
Not true.
They're the people in the power. They're the people who run this world.
I'm renaming your podcast the Liars Podcast, full of lies. And
do you really still believe in this guy? I mean, it's so
I have to believe in something. And the Democrats are just. I do believe in God, but the Democrats are letting their cities burn, and it bothers me.
They're telling them to burn, and it's going to get Trump elected.
Yeah.
So why would they do that? I mean, think about it. They do it because he can get $4 trillion deficits passed. He can get martial law. He can get feds in your cities.
But he's not.
They're chasing. You know what they're doing? They're chasing all the Democrats out of these huge cities, and they're turning all those flyover cities blue.
We're going to convert them. All of us Reds are going to convert the
Not
blues.
a chance in the world.
Forceful baptism.
I'll tell you the one thing I really care about. I'm really worried about. Our only hope at this point is the castle doctrine, to be able to arm yourself and protect your property in the four corners. And they start getting all these people from California to go to Texas. There are going to be problems.
Yes, Franny.
That's funny. Did you say, hey, Can you please put back your little meme?
Oh, she saw it. Franny, did you see the meme? I've already erased it off the dashboard. Franny, did you see the meme? If you did not see it, I'll bring it back up. I'll go get it off my desktop and bring it back up. I think she saw the meme, though.
I think she did, too.
I think she saw the meme. If not, I will be more than happy to post the meme again for her birthday. And I've regressed. She said I've only been off 1 week.
I know. Put that up there. Come on. Put that little comment up there. It's so funny.
So, okay, but see, y'all laugh, but then who do you vote for?
What the fuck? Who cares?
You didn't see the meme. You didn't see the meme. All right, I'll put it back up. It's my fault. Everybody stay with me. Hold on. This meme was for you. Here you go, Franny. This meme was for you. I'll hide me so you can read it really good. There you go, Franny.
There you go.
That was
Did
for you.
Did you see it now? That was pretty funny.
Now she says I didn't see it. If she didn't see it that time, she's out of luck. We'll just have to keep going.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry.
So real quick, because we've got some tweets to cover today, and I got some things to talk with you about. But I saw you're a big fan of Rand Paul, are you not?
I mean,
he got attacked a little bit.
You got to tell me the story. He seems to always be there to. I mean, if the proof is in the pudding, he's not really your guy. I'll tell you when he lost me.
And I'm listening.
I mean, I like anyone who will make the correct points about anti-war or economics. Oh, she did see it. Okay, so in that regard, yes. But like, for example, when Edward Snowden came out and didn't really reveal anything important, and I said, he just said what they're doing is against the USA Patriot Act. And I said, well, the way he talks, he'd be just as happy if they made it legal than if they stopped doing it. And I forget what the details were. I could go back and find it. But whatever Rand Paul did got the USA Freedom Act passed. And all that did was make legal the stuff that Edward Snowden told us was illegal. It didn't stop it. It just made it legal, or a lot of it. So when he's instrumental in stuff like that, by playing an opposition card that doesn't have a prayer of winning, I get a little suspicious. And I always loved Justin Amash. He was above reproach, in my opinion. Absolutely, positively. And then you're going to love this. You're really going to love this. Genuinely, he just fell off a cliff. He used to write on Facebook his constitutional basis for every single vote. It was so important. It was the most legitimate civil act I can think of. And he stopped doing that, broke with the Republican Party, and started promoting the idea of impeaching Trump for that dumb Ukrainian phone call, which was absolutely
stupid.
Yeah, you know what I think about Trump. You know what I think it was?
It was a diversion.
I think it was something more than that. There are now coming out all these phone calls of Biden negotiating quid pro quos with Poroshenko. So I think they just did that to insulate Biden. And that's why I don't believe in Trump, because he plays these games with them, or he's an absolute idiot, which I don't believe. I don't think he's an idiot at all. I think he knows that he's just doing what they say.
So you don't think you don't think that the angst against Trump is designed because he is trying to reveal these things? Because it's his DOJ that's going after him.
It's what he did neutralized any shock of what Biden did.
What did he do, though, other than have a conversation?
He recreated that phone call intentionally. That was scripted, in my opinion. Zelensky had a script, Trump had a script, and it was meant to be a nothing burger that neutralized accusations of a quid pro quo with Ukraine, because Biden actually did it.
You don't think the Democrats saw that Biden actually did it, saw an opportunity to get in front of the news cycle, say, look what Trump did, when they knew it was nothing, knowing that the real stuff was going to come out later, but everybody
I think that's exactly what happened, and I think Trump was in on it.
Oh, so yeah, that's where we diverged.
Because he recreated that ridiculous phone call. What is the likelihood?
How do you know it was recreated, though?
I'm just saying. That's my speculation. Is that what is the likelihood that the thing that could get Biden in jail, all that nonsense, all the corruption and the money and all of that, it could get him into criminal trouble, political trouble, everything. I literally think he's running for president to neutralize any kind of attack on him. That he's going to lose on purpose. Democrats were intending to lose on purpose all along, and the only reason they picked him was to help him whitewash that stuff. And Trump is absolutely playing along, maybe just to get reelected, maybe because he works for the same guys they work for.
See, I think they saw something, a conversation that happens all the time. They knew that they could start yelling about it over here, and because they knew the DOJ was going to come out with the Biden stuff. And I think the riots and all of the impeachment is all a diversion from the investigation into the Russian investigation, which was a hoax, and into the Ukraine. I think they're doing that so they can set it up against Trump, because they know
that's just a soap opera. That's just but on both sides, all of it. Whereas what Biden did was real. All this other stuff is just nonsense, and both sides are playing it. All they do, this is the brilliance of Trump. Nobody else could dominate the news cycle 24/7 for 4 years straight.
But that's
Nobody
because the
could do
Democrats
that.
will shut up about it. The main media won't stop.
It's ridiculous. Is he just sitting around minding his own business, speaking as clearly and succinctly as possible?
He's never spoken clearly.
Yes, he has.
Oh,
yes, he has. I grew up in New York. He was normal. That's
huge.
why I think that's why Joan Rivers is dead, I think, because she knew. Jeff Zucker, who runs CNN, trained him as an actor.
You don't get just look at you throw that fastball down the middle, just out of nowhere.
Well, I said it before.
That's why she's dead.
I do think so. I've said it before. Yes, these are the days of our lives, JJ. So, Jason,
JJ,
so
thank you, sir.
I've said this before about Joan Rivers. I wasn't trying to gloss over it. I think they show. When was I telling somebody about this? The last time I saw her on TV, she walked off the live set of CNN because the anchor girl was giving her a hard time. And she was like, "You're being ridiculous." She gave her a couple of chances. And when the girl continued to be a complete jerk to her, she just walked away. And I think that was a test to see if she was really just like not playing the game anymore.
Right.
And I said that moment with witnesses, oh, she'll pay for that. And she was dead a couple months later. And I didn't just jump to the conclusion, oh, she was murdered, but it was a very fishy thing. She was at a clinic. Her own personal physician was standing by and swooped in to do a procedure that was not authorized and not recommended and predictably killed her, which it did. And yeah. And then I saw a couple of the clips of her where she said Trump would make a great president. And I'll tell you why, because he's smart. He's really smart. And so my feeling, right. And someone like that is on The Apprentice who knew that he was acting. She would have said it.
He's smart, but I still have never heard him be when he's speaking.
Go back.
Yeah, but he does still.
Go listen to him on Howard Stern. He wasn't like that. He used to be on Howard Stern all the time.
John Jasper, if you can read this, I'm out of Facebook jail.
You can. He got in trouble for posting.
Hi, Daryl Jackson.
Hey, Daryl. John Jasper, UKJJ, got in trouble for posting a really cogent thread about the questions and answers of the Corona narrative. So don't post it here, JJ. We want to respect Clint's safe space.
Yeah, please, for all that's good.
But I just don't do anything. Money. I don't do anything on Facebook because I mean, you're taking your life in your hands having me on, babe. I'll try to keep it together, but
I already have no money and I have very little, whatever. Hey,
I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to have to get you what can we do? We're going to have to sell.
I just need people to go to just go to my, Patreon page and give me a little cashola. We're good.
Where is that? Tell people.
All you have to do, you just go to During the Break. I'm at the Patreon page, During the Break podcast.
Patreon.com/During
the Break podcast. Yep.
You should tell people why you're on your ace. You're stuck at home. You've got all your business dried up.
Yeah, well, about 40% of my business dried up just because I have radio shows and podcasts and some consulting. Well, when people stopped going into the office and sales started going south because I did some sales consulting, that kind of went south. But I'm bringing some stuff back via some online options and phone calls. So it's going to go good. All right, so we started off pretty good talking about Joan Rivers, and I think that's the perfect way to start it. But before I bring up a word, I want to bring up a word and see what you think about it. I want to throw this curveball at you and the viewers. Monica Perez, do you or do you not believe in dinosaurs?
I do not believe that dinosaurs existed.
Unless
birds. No, I don't care.
Okay.
Unless you think like a bird or an iguana is a dinosaur. I don't think giant creatures that could not. They're like Barbie dolls. Like Barbie dolls. If you made a human Barbie doll, it would just fall over. It just couldn't really stand up or couldn't run around. And like, what would it eat? Something bigger than the trees.
So what about the bones they
could
found?
collapse.
What about the bones they found?
What bones have you seen?
Well,
I'm
You
serious.
just question everything because they find pictures. They put them in this. They put them in the Smithsonian Institute. They got the.
I didn't even think about it. And my mom, who's like not a truther at all, but she's religious. I have a feeling it has something to do with her religious background. She's like, I don't believe in dinosaurs. I'm like, what? And I didn't believe in anything, but I didn't even think to question dinosaurs. They're just too big. They're too big. So I was like, I said, but Mom, you can see the bones in the museum. No, you can't. I said, but I've seen them. Yeah. I've seen them. She says, they're not. They're clay. They're not bones. They tell you the bones are in the back, but you're not seeing the bones.
You know what's really good? It's a good show anytime Monica's mom makes an appearance.
She's in 91. We better have her actually on the show to make real appearances. Although, I mean, she's going to make it a while.
I think we should just get a video of her saying, like, tell her we need 20 seconds of just saying goodbye, and we'll end every show. That's our. Oh my
gosh! You should listen to the last WSB show I ever did. It's actually on iTunes on Monica Perez Show. It says final show. It's only like 15 minutes, and my executive producer Shane cut up some calls. People called in, but my mom called in. So the last call I ever got on my run at WSB was my mom, and she said something like this. She said, "Oh, I'm really gonna miss you on Saturdays. It was like having, like a little visit from you, and so I guess have a nice life." I was like, first of all, it sounds like I never actually visit her, which I do. And I'm never going to see her again. Have a nice life. It was pretty awesome. Everybody loved it. It was definitely a high five. Great ending moment. But the problem is when you get her on put a mic in front of her, all of a sudden she's Katharine Hepburn. She is just like the way she was learned how to do public speaking in Catholic school. Yes, this is Monica's mother. It's like, Ma, what happened? Ma, what the hell happened to you? So you have to catch her candid.
Well, we'll get her. We'll tell her we're not live yet. I'll just get her talking, and then I'll tell her we're live. I'll fake
glass of wine, maybe a little glass of wine.
Yes. Hey, did it make you mad when
Daryl says dinosaurs are fake? Franny says dinosaurs are fake.
Yeah,
yes, JJ and JJ.
Yeah, we'll make sure they both. There we go. They're all fake.
They are.
They're the Monica
I should say
minions.
No one's proven to me that they exist.
So the videos and the pictures of them dusting off
you have
videos
of dinosaurs
of them finding the bones and stuff, and then they're putting the bones in the
You know what?
museums.
Google this. They found a bone recently that had little dinosaur that had chicken flesh attached to it. Think about that for a second.
Was it Popeye's chicken or Chick-fil-A chicken? That's what
probably.
Was it God's chicken?
Well, it had to have been. It was bones, so it can't have been Chick-fil-A. So the person who found it was obviously tricked. But she believed it. She believed it. So she's saying like it really changes the way we think about how long fresh meat can be preserved.
Yeah.
So 250 million years is now, it's went from like 3 to 4 days or throw it away to 3 to 4 days or 250 million years, depending on what kind of chicken it is.
Hey, so did it make you mad that when you went to New York, if you had traveled out of New York, you were going to have to quarantine, and then they've got the movie stars, for the awards. Well, remember just recently,
really
in the last couple of weeks, though, they were going to have the award ceremony where those people weren't going to have to quarantine. They could come in and go directly to the awards.
Really? I didn't hear that.
And I thought of you. I thought, so normal people have to quarantine, but if you're famous, you don't have to quarantine.
Brandy and I were getting on an elevator recently, and the sign on the elevator said this. It said, social distancing is required in this elevator. During heavily trafficked times, limit elevator occupancy to 4 people. When there's lighter traffic, limit it to 2. Just think about that for a second. Because this virus is sensitive to rush hour?
Yes. Or if you're protesting. If you're protesting, you don't get it if you're protesting.
You know what's going to happen with the protests?
You only get it if you go to a Trump rally.
I'm seeing hints of this. People are going to start coming to the nice neighborhoods, coming to your town,
It's happening.
making a ruckus. Is that happening everywhere?
Well, it's
They're
happening in
doing that
Seattle and like Chicago.
so that rich people want Trump to bring the army in. They want martial law. They want their stuff defended. And I'm telling you, we need castle doctrine. You need to get your guns and stand on the edge. Anybody who steps over your property needs to know he or she is taking his or her life into his or her hands.
If they do that in the rural America where I've got family members, Trump will not have to send anybody in.
Perfect. That's what you need. That's why I'm worried. That's why I'm worried that they're cleaning out these big, huge tens of millions of people in these cities like LA and New York to head into Atlanta and Austin. Yes, Atlanta and Austin are already inside the loop or in the inner city.
But they're
blue, but they're in red states, and people who can't afford to live in those little cities are going to push out into the suburbs. I cannot watch that stuff, Daryl. As my mother says,
convention was awesome. I watched both the Democrats.
Lying.
I watched the DNC and the RNC.
Yes, the Republicans are going to win. What did you think, Daryl?
Yeah, post us what you think. That'll be good while we're sitting here talking. Hey, before and as Daryl's responding, here's the word for the day, because I have had this other conversation with a couple of friends of mine. One's more libertarian, one's more conservative, and I actually end up playing the middle ground on that one.
Really?
Yeah, I'm good. I can go, but I can.
You can fake it.
Whatever. So, but if some of the things that happen. First of all, I don't think Biden's going to be the nominee. I've said it forever.
He is the nominee.
He's not going to end up being he will not.
No, I know.
Something's going to happen. But if they get elected, there's so many things they're going to put in place. The mandate for the mask, all this stuff. One of the things they're going to get rid of is this right here. Can you read that?
A filibuster. Yeah.
They're going to get rid of it.
Yes.
They've used it. It's crazy. What do you think about that, Monica Perez?
I'll tell you what I think. And it's interesting because you probably never heard of this guy, John Coleman, Dr. John Coleman. He wrote a book called The Committee of 300. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's pretty widely circulated in conspiracy circles. He was a former, I think, MI6 guy. So, of course, it's very hard to believe that, but it's full of truth. So it's like got a real limited hangout kind of quality, which I like. And what he said, and this was written in the 90s, there were a few things that he said. So when I read the book 10 years ago, I thought, well, and it's about the inner circle. So say the Council of Foreign Relations is 3,000 people. There's an inner circle, the Committee of 300. What that really is where the action is. Nobody else knows about it, basically, what happens there. So what he said in that book, and I was like, okay, a lot of this stuff is true, but the three things that he said are not true, kind of blow up the whole book. And they were this. It was about sex shows, drugs, and parliamentary procedure. He said there would be people, sex shows would be so prominent that you would have people in tuxedos clapping for them and acting like it was high art. And I'll tell you, so I was like, that's never going to happen. Certainly didn't happen yet. One time I was at the Grammys. I go to the Grammys, and I was but because of my husband's job, I
drink like this too. You put your little pinky.
No, I don't, and I'm hardly. Well, maybe, but I drink some good champagne. That's for sure. So I was in a suite with other people. Everybody's in a tux, and the whole place in gowns and stuff. And there is Beyonce, who can sing, really sing. She's got her ass to the crowd. She's sitting backwards on a stool, and I think she's supposed to be like a stripper. And there's a guy behind her, kind of corralling the show. And I just looked around. It's like, that brother needs to throw a blanket on that sister if he loves her and wants to represent. People look at me like, that's her husband. I'm like, her husband is running the sex show? What the hell?
But it wasn't real sex.
It was Beyonce.
Just sexual.
It was like a strip tease, but her ass was singing to us. But she could sing. Why do I need? Why does she have to show us her ass?
But it was really. But it was just a dance move.
No, but it was meant to be representative of a strip show. It wasn't a. You know what I mean? It was that was the shtick. There's always satanic stuff, but this was just pure sex. And I said to the people around, they said, "Why do you?" They said, well, that's what people want. I said, it's not what people want. Breaking Bad was the most popular TV show in television history, and HBO rejected it because there wasn't enough sex in it. So the people don't want it. It's pushed down from the top. So the sex show thing came true. Legalizing drugs, that's coming true. I am against the drug war. Absolutely. They're not giving us access to more drugs because they believe in freedom, just so you know.
They're just waiting till they can figure out how they can make money at it.
They just want that, and they want you to be stupid, and they want you to pay for the privilege. No, it's terrible. Actually, making it legal puts it full of chemicals. It's so much stronger. It's vaping because it's highly regulated. If they just said, all right, there's no regulations whatsoever, people would just grow it and sell it and smoke it.
You're talking about pot, though. Yeah.
I'm talking about pot right now, but it's going to go to mushrooms and other stuff like that. But what I'm saying is he said that drugs would become legal, and they are. And then the other thing he said is that we would lose the distinguishing features between our system and the European system. And two of them are that in the European system, or in our system, Congress, the people, control the purse strings. They have to generate all the tax laws, and that's why you want earmarks. They complain about earmarks, but if you don't have earmarks, then the executive has the power to distribute the money as he wishes. If you earmark it, Congress is actually identifying where the money goes. You want earmarks, or at least whatever. So Obama for years just signed a continuing resolution or just like money without a budget. So we had that the executive got more and more control as earmarks went away and everything like that over the purse strings. I thought that was very significant. And then the final thing was that the minority is very strongly protected here in the, or relative to there, where there, like in the UK, the party, they vote together. So it's basically everybody votes together. The party kind of decides where you're going to go on a bill, I think, basically. But here you have that, like a single person has the right to stop it. It's like jury nullification or veto power is very important. And the left and the right, I mean, Trump was saying stuff straight up and down vote, simple majority. So, like, it was so ridiculous because obviously the Democrats are going to have benefit from that way, way more than the Republicans. They always have in the past, and they always will in the future. And that's another thing they're getting done while Trump's there. Well,
and that's what I was trying to explain. And I'm going to post some comments, but I was trying to explain in that I do one called Of, By, and For the People with John Ballinger and Eric Buchanan. And we talked about how corporations now are actually funding the administrative side of the government. Yeah. And basically that's what's running the government. That's what's running the government now. And we also talked about the procedures and how it's kind of going off the rails a little bit. And I need to make one clarification. I don't think Monica was saying that Beyonce was actually stripping or doing anything satanic. So I just want to make sure that I'm clear on that. So
I don't know about the satanic stuff, but I was not claiming that. I was saying it looked like a strip tease.
Yeah.
Not even a strip tease, right?
Strip tease. There you go. There you go. JJ Boogie mushrooms, I think, are legal now in Colorado. And then he asked a good question. Why do we have tax laws? There we go.
I would like to restore the Articles of Confederation where there would be no federal taxation. I mean, that's where the power is. But I want to also comment on the admin stuff.
Yeah.
At corporations running the admin show. They say they run the FDA, all that. Then you have defense contractors, and then you have this idea of privatization and charter schools. I have something to explain. Go ahead.
But I want to make sure what we were saying in that other show was, so they can't make laws. The people in administrative here can't make laws. So what happens? They put these organizations like the FCC together. They put all of these alphabet soups out there, and then they give them the ability to go put regulations in that are enforced by the government. Which at the end of every government enforcement is the gun, or
administrative law is totally unconstitutional.
There you go. Now
every single solitary law that comes down from the executive branch is unconstitutional, including executive orders. Okay. So that anything with an A at the end of it is unconstitutional. And actually, when I was at Stanford Law School, which is a bastion of all liberalism, it just turns out these ridiculous judges, for example, they said right away in admin, I took a class, admin law. They said, first day, don't raise any constitutional objections. It's probably all unconstitutional. We're not talking about that. We're talking about how it works. But my point about, that's a great point. But my point about so I've heard many people argue that because there is no funding for these studies, the FDA is at the mercy of big pharma, who will only give them the studies proving what they want to prove. So any studies that do not prove what they want get pushed down. I even saw a scandal in the newspaper where I think it was the CDC, a guy at the CDC, I think it was the CDC and Seagram's, actually commissioned Seagram's, gave CDC money to Seagram's to prove that alcohol was good for you, or at least not bad for you. No other, they already told them the outcome they wanted. Now, my guess is Seagram's went to CDC and gave that guy money on the side to funnel funds towards him, kind of like what happened with Trudeau in Canada right now. But for me, but there is a point about the corporations and privatization and charter schools and defense contractors and anything that they cannot pay for or we can't understand, like foreign policy. The answer is not bring in experts or outsource it. The answer is this is not a function that government can provide, or that a representative government could really represent the people, because they don't have the expertise to understand it. It is outside the scope of our government as defined by the Constitution.
Well, and you know what it does is if they stay inside the Constitution, then their powers are limited. They've got limits to the power. If they go outside that with these administrative and these alphabet setups that they have, where they can do the administrative stuff and put in the regulations, they capture little line items of power, and it's like the hungry hippo. They just go out and scoop them up and bring the power back to the federal government.
But they have to scare you into accepting it, and they do that by telling you that you will get sick from unregulated drugs. But we have a system for that is used and always has been used, and it's tort law, personal injury. So if you are injured, you get to run a company out of business. You see that these big judgments or fear of litigation or liability really curbs corporate behavior. You see it. This country is so much like more idiot proof and safer. I remember when I was on my honeymoon, I was in foreign countries, and there was a watering hole here or a cliff walk there or some old monument, and there would be little crosses everywhere where people died. And it wasn't, and those are highly regulated countries, but here you don't really have that so much as you have liability notices and people like, you can't go there, and they have fences up, and it is definitely more hermetically sealed off from nature stuff. But that is all more, that seems to me as much, if not more, a function of tort law than regulatory law. And that's like the basic difference. So the French law, if I understand it correctly, French law is statutory and English law is common law. So like in Louisiana, which is a French law place, they write it all down as statutes, and you just have to follow that. And they say, well, that's better because then you know what to do. Whereas in the English law system, they don't write anything down. They just litigate things that actually happen. And when those things actually happen, it's noticed to everybody else that that's why it's precedent. That's how the holding will go for you.
Yeah.
And that way you don't regulate stuff outside the context of real life in a way that an individual doesn't have a right to push back on how things really work and what's really fair.
You would like the last two conversations we've had, because it's about associations and how they've affected the influence on government. And that's kind of what it says. It's saying there's all of the things that control us now. We look at Congress and the president, and it's really none of those. It's
admin for sure.
It's 100%.
It's regulatory.
And the lobbyist groups that affect those. It's all about, we actually walk it through from getting from a bill to a law, and all of the joints that are in there where people can insert their influence through lobbyists and give power to the politicians, and it changes the law as it goes. It changes it. It's just silly.
People do focus on the lobbying aspect of it, and I guess that's valid, but it's always been my position that bribing a politician is the sin of the politician, not of the briber. if it is the regular person, the corporation or anybody who's trying to function in a system where the government has all the power to give you business or take business away from you or regulate you out of business or give an advantage to your competitor through cheap loans or whatever. The system is such that you have to bribe your way through it just to stay alive. That's the bad of the politician. And they are the ones with the public trust. They are the ones that need to be constrained. So you can say that's what it is, and you can try to stop that from happening. But really, I think what we have to do is not accept excuses like, well, Trump's doing the best he can, or he's just a hothead, or he's emotional, or whatever. You have to.
You can't do it, can you? You can't do it.
But no, I'm just telling you. I'm not trying to poke. I'm trying to say that everybody on both sides accepts their side's BS as to why they can step outside the bounds of the law, of the Constitution, you can call it a social contract. I'm fine with that. I don't believe in that. But if there's a social contract, it's written down on a piece of paper, the Constitution, and we don't abide by it.
Well, what frustrates me a little bit, and then we'll move on to some tweets and some other stuff, but in the state of Tennessee, if you want to get a bill into law, then it's one line item. You can't add all of the different things to it. If it starts off as a school bus has to stop at a school bus crossing, it's that. You can't come in and add things. It's not that way at the federal level. And by the time you come up with this idea that you may like before it gets to law, it's had so much tonnage and other things. It's ridiculous. That's how you get power.
They always argue. I've always heard this argument. I've been a libertarian since the day I was born. I think that's quite literally true. Or the first moment I could think.
40 years. For about 40 years.
40 something.
Yeah.
Which you can just write that, and so you can etch that in stone. I'll put it on my gravestone. She was 40 something.
Yes.
So, because that's where it's going to stop. So people have always been saying to me, like, oh, you need a little regulation, or what's wrong with the government paying for research and all the things, public roads, all of those things are being demonstrated right now, today, in the Corona times, as something you cannot trust the government to do because their motives are different, or I should say they serve different masters. I don't think Bill Gates is at the top of the pyramid, but let's just call him that. Let's just say Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum and whoever runs Johns Hopkins and Bill Gates are all the ones who are calling the shots. You can see that they are in complete control of health policy, of economic policy, of the regulations. Then you look at the research that has contributed to all this surveillance stuff, to robots that are going to take our jobs prematurely. You'll never have a job-ending technology if the free market is in charge of it, because as that technology gets more productive and reduces the cost of goods, the marginal cost of labor will fall. And then there will always be a place for labor. So they are, all the things that people argue that government is good for are creating all of the problems that we're seeing, but it's serving the people at the top. And that's what you have to understand, is that stuff needs to go in its entirety. There's no way to constrain it because it's not meant to do what they say it's meant to do.
Okay.
Sorry, I know it's a lot.
I know. I'm just proud that you didn't take that opportunity to poke me.
I just think both sides fall for the same line, and that's why they keep flipping around.
But their side is wrong, though, Monica. My side's right. Don't you understand?
I'm not saying your side. I actually don't necessarily think your side is wrong in many ways, but I think what you're wrong about is that you're so easily fooled by a letter.
That's no. So let me quit being facetious and sarcastic a little bit. I think, and I've said this with you many times, I think one of the main problems that we have nowadays is we treat our politics like we do our football teams or our religion. And it's, I will give my side a pass. Listen, I'm an Alabama Crimson Tide fan. And if they cheat, everybody cheats. Quit complaining.
Right.
But if the other team cheats, I am mad.
Yeah, they need to be thrown
That's
out
not
of the
how
league.
politics was supposed to be. When Washington, when
they
Washington,
didn't even want two parties back then.
When Washington gave his farewell address, if I'm not mistaken, he said one of the dangers will be making sure you don't come attached to the politics, to the parties. And we've now we got to be all in as a Democrat. We're all good,
But,
you're all bad, or all in as a Republican.
Look at all these Western countries, Europe, UK, across the board. We're basically, I mean, I don't think we're all in the same boat. It's not equally bad or whatever, but it's no good. It's not better in countries like France,
I'd still rather live
Germany,
in America than everywhere else.
No, I'm saying those places where they have coalition governments, where they have more than 2 parties, they're not better. Those places aren't better. It's not the form as who said it? John Jasper will know who said it, that it's not the form of the government, it's the administration of it. I want to say Alexander Pope, but it is not.
Did I say that? Am I famous for that quote?
You maybe say it, and I'll quote you.
No, I can't even say it right.
You have to own it.
Hey, while he's looking that up or we're finding it, I want to start our tweet section where we go through your tweets.
Okay.
So we're going to start our tweet section and end it with the same tweet. You ready?
Okay. Yes.
Propaganda report gear. You have gear. You have stuff now. People can buy.
I have gear. I have a lot of stuff. I don't have everything with me, but I did ran and grab this. I love this mug so much.
Can you show it?
Yes. Sorry.
Yes.
It starts. It says, "Take a deep dive beneath the surface of the story." So this mug, I did find. I thought it was going to be a limited edition, and I gave it to patron saints of patreon.com/propaganda report. But I think it's going to work out where I just started a store on Shopify, and I think Printful can recreate this. I couldn't find this anywhere, so I had 50 of them, and I gave them all out already. I have to actually give out other ones, I think, from here on in. But I love it, and it has a pretty thin rim, which I absolutely adore. I wake up, and I'm so excited to have my mug. So I really do. I love it. And so that's one thing. And it's got a weird URL. It's the-propaganda-report .myshopify.com. the-propaganda-report.myshopify.com.
I just posted your the Patreon propaganda report page over here in our comment.
Thank you.
So people
that's
can go
for free. That's for free one, but you have to become a patron saint.
Well, there's a bunch of them in here. You've got 467 patrons. Look at you.
Well, because we give a lot of value.
You do.
Nobody's getting nothing except for the fans of the free, but they are going to get something.
All right. So what else?
Don't know that yet. So I also have these awesome T-shirts. This is my first run of the T-shirts. I'm also going to start making other colors and a larger range of sizes. But so that's the front.
Hold on, let me. Oh yeah,
my awesome logo, and the back is super cool. That's
very cool.
Logo.
Look at that.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's a really nice silk screen. It isn't. It's only $19.95. It isn't like the highest quality. I'm going to make more expensive ones that are like dyed in the cloth.
Right.
And that, I mean, they're basically, if I break even over a year of all of this, it'll be amazing. But I just love the logo. Actually, I think it's super cool.
You've got a good logo.
I'm just learning, so I'm ordered a bunch of stuff. I didn't realize now, like I cannot do these on demand because I don't like the way they come out. So I have to buy those in advance. But the cups, I think I found a place where I like what they do. So they'll just, and stickers. Everybody loves the stickers. I can't show you the stickers.
I was going to ask if you have the stickers.
I do. I have a picture of the sticker.
Look, JJ Boogie said, don't forget the propaganda report mankinis for sale.
Yes. Binkley is going to have, he's going to model for us a mankini. It's an over the shoulder banana hammock. And we're going to have the Drive Time News Blast logo on his on the crotchal area. No, you don't think that'll sell? This is another sticker.
Yeah. Let's go back to mugs. Let's go back to mugs.
There's other mugs. There are smaller mugs too. I'm a huge mug person, but there's a small mug.
Listen, there's a segment of people out there that may buy a mug with Binkley modeling the mankini on it.
I did, that would be fun. Or, oh my gosh, they have color changing mugs. So like the mankini could disappear as you pour the hot.
It would encourage you to keep it full of hot liquid.
Like it. Who knows? Who knows what lies beneath Let's dig beneath the surface of the story. So he is going to model the
He's
t-shirt.
all propaganda. It's all propaganda.
He's skinny. He's not short, but he's super skinny. So he's gonna model the
mankini,
the t-shirt. No, he's gonna model the t-shirt. The mankini will be underneath, but I don't think we'll see.
Maybe we can get Clint to model one. Hey, listen, for enough money,
yeah,
big boy over here needs some cash.
Yeah, baby, we're gonna have the picture of the mankini though. Oh, can you put a picture up, JJ? Yeah. I'm gonna find. I was freaking.
If you've got a picture, message me through Facebook, Monica. Just send it to me through Messenger, and I can put it up here real quick. But then we got to go. We got to talk about tweets.
Keep talking, and I will find it.
Yeah, you can keep. And I am trying to right now find. I can't even find it right now. The where you can go and. Yeah, no, that's the right link. I got you the right link up there. If people want to go be a Patreon at your stuff, they can.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And I noticed on your YouTube page, you're at 1.6 thousand followers. So here's what we need on your YouTube page for Monica Perez Show. We need either another 2,000 followers this week to listen for 1 hour, or for the 1.6 thousand people to listen for about 1.2 hours each. You got to get you up to 4,000 hours listening time, and we got to get you over the 2,000.
And if I can put some commercials up, I'll absolutely split it with you. Although commercials on YouTube, like it's like a penny an hour kind of
I just want to get you over 2,000 subscribers. You've got too much content up there. You're posting stuff with other people now. You've got some other guests up there. So I want to make sure.
Are you ready? You're going to want to eye muscle.
Are you going to send this to me, or are you going to show it to me on the thing?
Sorry. You want me to send it to you?
Oh, no, you know what you want. I don't care. This is your, we've got another 15 minutes before.
The Canadian company is selling the.
Well, tell me when you send it to me, and I'll go to Facebook and pull it up.
You see that?
Are you pulling it up there?
No. All right, I'll send it to you. I don't know if you really.
Well, we got to get into some tweets in a minute.
Okay, well, go. Just start talking.
Okay. Well, the next tweet that you posted was you posted a couple of days ago, a global network of principled business leaders. How great is that? It was that Batista Society group.
I know. And then John Jasper blew me right up because I didn't even, I was just like, remember in the day in the 50s when like a business guy had some integrity, and that's what they said they were. And they named it after Bastiat, who I love. And I didn't even see their logo, which is like an earth covered in satellites and beams in every direction. And John Jasper crapped on it. Of course, he was right. But anyway, maybe he can tell us, he can go on.
Hold on a second. I think I've got this picture right here I can pull up. So but I heard what you said, but what does that mean? Why did you think that was a good idea to begin with?
Well, because I feel like before I just texted that picture to you.
Okay.
Before we had the government, now the more we get like socialized or fascist or whatever, the bigger the government gets, the more it becomes like many or not, or maybe most other countries where in order to get rich or do well or any of that, you have to be connected to the government. It's getting out of control now that the Fed is buying stocks and bonds and inflating like mad and driving small businesses out of business. I mean, it's getting crazy. But there was a time in a freer market where integrity mattered, reputation mattered. Like I was talking about tort law and liability. Your reputation was how you got people to come to you. To me, the regulatory state is a way to give cover to anybody. It's like a substitute for reputation, and it gives cover to anybody who will pay the politicians. It's a terrible system, whereas the way it used to be was better, and I thought that was reminiscent of those days. There it is. Jason put it up there.
Yeah, we're about to go pull it up because we've made such a big deal about it. We have to do it now.
I know, but I mean, I hope we're all adults here. It's so embarrassing.
The Monica Perez logo, the propaganda report coming at you strong, ladies and gentlemen.
We got to somebody needs to mock it up for me.
You need to watch your hand gestures, man.
Put these stickers, strategically impose little patches of propaganda report and Drive Time, News Blast on those guys.
I'm going to be honest with you. This may be insulting to those guys. You've got too many words for the fabric they got. You're going to have to come up with a smaller hook. You can't go.
Well, one is a megaphone, which could work. And the other is just an Eiffel Tower. That works too.
That may be one of my favorite parts of this whole thing right here. Where to strategically place logos and what can they have?
Do you want the Eiffel Tower or would you like the megaphone?
That's it. Listen, you're making the product. Send it.
I'm just saying, I will make two options depending on how you feel.
Make great gifts for Christmas, those stocking stuffers.
Absolutely. And it'll say something about what the person thinks of you.
Your relationship.
Which one they give you.
Oh, you're going to start a different podcast, apparently. Hey, so another tweet. Teachers unions have been hinting at the same approach for a while, and it was based off, I think, taking a strike like the NBA.
Yeah. So this idea of confusing your own issues with somebody else's issues, something that your boss doesn't really have any control of. Of course, the NBA and the teachers unions, their bosses isn't just a private company. The NBA to me is basically these leagues that are insulated from any kind of antitrust thing or all that. And they are really governments. They're like government bodies, if you ask me. And similarly, the teachers union is negotiating with the government. It's like having a tug of war with nobody on the other side. Like the government is not protecting you and your kids from these teachers the way in a private school there is a real tension going on. But what they do is they want more than what's within the purview of the relationship. And I think that's weird.
Don't you remember, though, when we used to have it you didn't bring your politics to work? Seriously, the NBA, the NFL, these other big companies. I remember growing up, when I grew up and started the workplace, even up until 5 or 10 years ago, you could talk about politics, but not in a formal setting. And the company was very good about, hey, listen, we're not picking a side here. And now it's like there's no, I said this in other podcasts I do, there's no escape politics now. I can't watch pro sports. I can't go to church. I can't, everywhere I turn, somebody's pushing me.
That's a function of exactly what I was talking about, where the only way to get ahead now is not to actually give people what they want and have integrity, but to play some game with the person who has the power. And that's why it made me crazy when Target went in and said, oh, we're going to have like non-gendered bathrooms. I don't care I don't really care what they do, but if they want to add that, I really don't care about the subject, but they were not doing it because that's what their customers wanted. They were doing it to get in good with the politicians, and the companies that would not do it wouldn't be allowed to operate in that town or whatever.
And see, that's what gets me. And this is where me and you agree. Listen, if bathrooms become that big of an issue, and the market decides it, companies will add them because it would exclude a market. If you're doing it for a small minority of people, I'm not saying that you can't take a stand as a business owner. What I'm saying is, if it's not based off the market, they'll go somewhere else to shop.
Here's the thing. They aren't business owners. So the CEO of Target, I don't know who that is, but whoever it is, maybe it's the largest shareholder, not usually. What it probably is a politician, a quasi-politician, somebody with an agenda, somebody who believes in stakeholderships rather than shareholders. And so the shareholders are the ones who have an interest in serving the customer, but the shareholders don't really have a voice. It's a way where us little guys, us laborers, can take our little 401k and participate in the capital side of the business. It's why we don't need Marxism and communism, because any laborer with little extra money can be a capitalist. But you cannot participate in the capital side without putting your money towards politics you might not like, which will count against the impact of your actual vote, which is in a totally different sector. It's insidious, and people don't see it for what it is, because they act like these causes are objectively right and good and not ideologically skewed or have a different purpose.
We are set up now to feed the monster that's going to eat us. And I've said this to a couple of people. I 100% support all my black friends and the lives of all black people and white people. I don't support the KKK, and I don't support the organization Black Lives Movement. It's a Marxist. You can go to the website and read I've got screenshots of their website. And so I don't support that. It doesn't make me a racist because I don't support any group that is racist and bigoted. I don't support it. So, and you don't get to call me that.
Right.
You can, but it doesn't make it right.
And the slogan is not the same as identifying what the real problems are and identifying the action items.
As a matter of fact, it gets in the way of fixing the problems. I don't think they want solutions.
Plus, to make the point, the most important thing is to ask the question, do Black Lives Matter or do all lives matter? Is that really the focus of this? And don't forget, we were all getting pissed at the militarization of the police. We were standing shoulder to shoulder, and then they started this nonsense. So all of a sudden, there are citizens on the other side of this question of how the police should behave. That's not how it was 7 years ago when I started talking about that.
Have you seen the videos of the groups, the mobs that are going up to people, eating outside, screaming at them, making them put up the Black Lives Movement symbol, the fist?
No, but I have heard personal stories like that.
I've seen the videos of it, and I'm like,
did I tell you about this? A cop shooting a black guy, running away in the back, right in LA, here in a suburb of LA. This guy, his name was Anthony McLean. It was only like a week ago, maybe 10 days ago. His buddy, the front license plate fell off the guy's car. And the cop stopped him. The driver looked like he was high on pot, whatever. And the passenger got out and started running away. And he was holding something in his pants that had an elastic band. It did not look like a gun to me. It looked like he was holding drugs because it wasn't hard or sticking out in any direction or anything like that. The guy, Anthony McLean, starts running away. One cop goes after him. There are two cops there. The one cop who goes after him shoots him in the back, dead. They say that there was a witness that saw him throw a gun into the street, that there was video evidence. They did not show that. The police department put together a 6-minute video compilation of all their information, which they're required to do. The cop who shot him conveniently had his body cam off and claims that he saw the guy turning around to shoot him. And then they don't show, there's no visual evidence of the guy having a gun. And then they show a picture of a gun, a broken in half gun laying on the floor somewhere. Could have been a burner gun. I don't know. But I tweeted it out and not one person thought it was anything but murder, homicide, unjustifiable. The guy was running away. He was on probation or whatever. My guess is he had pot or drugs and he didn't want to get in trouble. Shot in the back, dead. Nobody. No national news whatsoever. 2 days later, the Jacob Blake thing happens and it's totally ambiguous and nobody knows what to think. And there's a way to interpret it from either side. I had people tweeting at me, he was going for a weapon. He had a death wish. Fuck him. Blah, blah. So why do they only pick the ambiguous stuff? Well, the stuff that I have the answer.
Well, you got the answer? Okay, go.
Well, the reason I think it's to make us against each other. We would unite behind Anthony McLean, no matter what drug he is on.
And see, that's I think my point on this is a couple, and I didn't mean to go down this rabbit hole because we got to wrap it up here in a minute. I want to get through some more tweets, but we are so quick now because we've been trained to make a decision based off headlines. I don't think it's as much propaganda on all of them. Some of it is, but a lot of times. You've gone to law school. A lot of times you don't even have all the information you need to make a good decision in 24 to 48 hours. It comes in bits and pieces. Witnesses change. Body cam footage is on or it's off. I just think sometimes they throw the headlines out there where they know there's so much ambiguity and I think we make decisions without all the headlines. I think that. I do. I think we make
those headlines
with hardly any evidence.
That Kenosha thing, you know how hard it is to set those cars on fire? They were showing that you had to get into the car and like overheat the batteries. Half of them had electric engines.
No, I was saying though, but I think what I'm saying is I think we rushed to judgment about the shooting without having all the facts. Within an hour. Yeah. We were all made up our minds.
Well, I think that's because of the way it's presented. Whereas with the Pasadena thing, I looked at it. I looked at the government response to it. Their best argument did not convince me. I mean, I was looking a little deeper, but somebody's looking at that and not pushing it out because they know that even if you do rush to judgment at first, any kind of scrutiny would reveal that guy was shot in the back. And if any regular citizen had done that, that regular citizen would have been charged with murder.
And here's what happens. Exactly what you preach every day on the propaganda report, which you should all go listen to. Here's what happens, though, when they do this kind of stuff. It forces people, and I feel it right now. I want you to understand, emotionally, I feel what I'm about to say. It forces people, and I'm not kidding you, this is dangerous stuff, because it forces people to say this. Everybody's against the police, I feel, so I have to support all. I've got to be the defender of my police department, right? And in reality, we should be objective and say, not every police shooting is good. There are bad cops out there. They don't have enough training. There may be evil people. We don't know. Just like in every other segment, there's bad priests, bad coaches, bad dad, bad moms, bad human beings. But it forces us to take a side. And what we just talked about a minute earlier, I've got to protect my side at all cost.
Yeah. And it sparked a reaction.
Yes.
You know, so that is part of that. Yeah, I agree with you.
And the other side has to say it's all racism.
It's masterful. And they can do that about stuff that has absolutely no political ideology, like the masks. Why is wearing masks Democrat? Because they're just followers, I guess. I don't know. But mask wearing is Democrat. And if they had flipped that, they could flip it right now.
Nope.
They could have some Democrat say, oh, we just discovered masks are bad for you, and have Trump start wearing a mask, and the Republicans would all wear masks and the Democrats wouldn't. And you'd be...
I think we're more free thinkers. So...
No, it's not true. I used to think so until Trump was elected. I used to think that. And then I got the exact same arguments like, oh, don't hold him to the Constitution. That's a high bar. He's going to put pedos in jail.
Here's my new meme. You ready? I think Republicans are free thinkers. And I just wait for Monica's head to go. Hey, so you did it. Listen, you got time? I know we're an hour, but we started.
I know,
late.
yeah.
Do you have time for 2 more tweets, real quick?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You posted one that's finally the university system of Georgia waives the ACT and SAT requirements.
I know. I really messed that up because I just tweeted it, and that was the headline, and it doesn't come in quotes or anything. I don't agree with that. I thought it was pretty provocative that the headline of a news story starts with finally, but I totally don't agree with the SAT thing. Now, I asked people who were saying the SAT is crap, whatever, why? And apparently now being 40 something, I don't know what it's like in the world today, but they were saying the SATs are taught to, and that's a terrible test to teach to. The advanced placement tests actually aren't, I don't think they're that bad to teach to. The SAT is terrible to teach to. However, for me, I can only give my own example. I was like lower middle class and I had aptitude, but I wasn't good at sports. I was the youngest of 9. Nobody ever held my hand through extracurriculars or sports or whatever. I didn't know what I didn't know. I was a waitress. I wanted to be a waitress. It was fine. I just, so there was no, like, I always think of Sesame Street or Brady Bunch. Sesame Street was like all the really poor inner city kids, and they had people coming to help them, and they had a park, and they had a public pool. And then you have the Brady Bunch where the guy's an architect, and they live in California, and they go on vacation. I was just lower middle class watching freaking the Brady Bunch and Sesame Street on TV. Like, there was nothing for me. So for them to just swoop in and give me an aptitude test and prove that if they put me in one of those better situations, I could hold my own, I wouldn't end up falling on my face, and that they could give me a chance. They gave me a scholarship. I mean, I dropped out of high school and I got a full scholarship to Harvard from community college because of my SAT scores. And if you take that away, then the only thing a person has, unless they're already a legacy in the Ivy League, is to check a box. And then it's all identity politics. And if you don't have the right bull, the right BS on your application, then you're going to be relegated to blue collar, pink collar work forever, which I like. I like that stuff. I preferred it. I liked being a waitress. I would be a waitress now, or a bartender would be even more fun. But I always feared, like, what if you break your leg or something? You know what I mean? Like, it's a hard life, and you don't really accumulate mass amounts of wealth so that you can retire when you start getting old. So I think that the SAT is a gateway, a hand up to some people who can handle being the kind of upper middle class tax slave and are willing to do it.
I don't know when it happened. I don't know when it happened, but they started teaching kids how to take tests. And it happened, I think, in the last 10, 15 years, and it may have happened further back than that. But at some point in time, and I've got a lot of teacher friends who are very frustrated about that too, because a lot of their time in the classroom is consumed with teaching kids, because they're going to get judged. If Monica doesn't do well on the test, then the teacher gets penalized. And so if Monica doesn't have the aptitude, instead of being able to judge Monica based off what she's learned that will help her, I've got to get Monica ready to take this test.
And they moved the test so that when I was coming up, almost nobody got a 1600, but now lots of people get that, because I used to interview when I was an investment banker, and people would have 1600s like crazy. And I remember this like gorgeous blonde chick got a 1600, and I was like, I have never seen skinny, beautiful, rich.
Are you stereotyping?
Yes. I mean, because she blew me away, and I was like,
"You're not a police officer.
You beat me on the SATs. Come on." And I mean, it happens. It definitely happens. But I didn't think I would run into a unicorn like that. And then like the next four people also had 1600s, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
I never took the SAT. I took the ACT.
I don't know what the number is on that, but when they do that, that means that you can't distinguish among, like, you can get a B plus, an A minus, an A. GPA, whatever, people can tell the difference. So,
it doesn't really mean
that a B plus or higher is all the same, and you can't like pick somebody to be a scientist or a
it doesn't really matter when a lot of the bigger colleges have set it up toward the Asian American, Chinese, Japanese, they can't get in. They've put in stuff.
Maybe it's a plot against them.
I just think they made that culture, because we act like cultures are bad, and they're not. I love different cultures. I think that there are cultures out there that actually emphasize this is important to us.
I think it's very hard if a test is meant to measure aptitude. I think it's hard to beat it. So I think if Asian Americans are getting higher on those tests, they probably have a higher aptitude. Now, is that what you want? Is that all you're looking for?
No, it shouldn't be.
Probably not. But when they tried to make identity a part of the SAT, the schools objected, saying, we have other measures for that kind of diversity. We don't need you to diversify a pure aptitude test based on identity.
I got one question and one more tweet, and we're done. Have you ever had an IQ test? Have you ever done that? Oh, have you?
Yes. My mother put me in Mensa when I was 13.
Oh,
wasn't as high as I thought it would be.
I did two of them. I did one in college, and I did one after college. And if I'm not mistaken, if you take a true IQ test, they're not supposed to vary by more than 2 to 3 points. I don't
ever like the more there are different scales.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, mine is always basically the same.
Yeah, mine was within 2 or 3 points, so I was in the variation there.
Yeah,
here's one you did. In case you thought compromising on private property rights would not be a slippery slope, here's where it leads. Victoria party host fined $2,300 under the new coronavirus something. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, you can't have a party in your own house.
Good. All right, next tweet. New rule. No parties. Let me write that down. No parties.
So I want the castle doctrine back, and I want the no parties in your own house rule eliminated. Yes. You should let them on if you want. So not only can you not keep people out, you can't let them in.
If they do, you got to be 6 feet apart, got to have a mask. Your gun's got to be hidden, or it's got to be open.
I'm starting to get pissed. It takes a lot to piss me off, because I don't care about too much except for, getting dinner on the table. But
I still think we ought to do a mid-afternoon, Monica at her kitchen doing a cocktail.
I should make you a cocktail. Oh my gosh. Oh, I didn't realize that's what you were asking.
Yeah.
I'll totally do that.
I think we should do that.
I will absolutely do that.
And you invite a bunch of people over to your house and get a $2,300 fine.
No, I will just set up. I have a little bar. I was going to do cocktail videos, and then my daily show started taking off, so I didn't have time. But I was going to switch from politics to cocktails. I was done with all this because I figured I would just get deplatformed again, which I was. So when it happens again,
we should do a mid-afternoon when it's afternoon at your place, and let's do a mid-afternoon 20-minute. What cocktail is it today that Monica's whipping up?
And maybe we should do it on a Sunday, and we can invite John Jasper and other people who are in Europe who can't make my disappearing patient parties on Friday night. I've always wanted to do a Sunday brunch for them. And We could do that. We'll tell people in advance the ingredients.
Yeah. And then I will bring in my glass with like 2 ice cubes and take my whiskey and pour it gently into my cup, and I'm done.
That's what Binkley does on our parties.
Just like
sometimes he has like plastic glasses.
No,
he
I'm
was
drinking out of good
Jim
stuff.
Beam and Powerade the other day.
He's a communist, though. Binkley's a communist, right?
Oh my gosh, he hates communists.
He's watching this. He'll watch this and go, I am not. He's
not
a Trump
watching.
supporter. He's a Trump supporter. Maybe not.
I think he used to think Trump might be Batman, but I never did, and now we know. Billionaire by day, superhero by night. No.
Hey, Monica, tell everybody how to find you one more time. Let's get out of here.
Oh, I will. Thepropreport.com is my website, but if you want our many, 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 many podcasts, we put one out every single day, the news of the day from a perspective of truth, liberty, and justice. Check us out at The Propaganda Report feed on your favorite podcasting platform. And there's tons of extra content and disappearing patron parties, free swag, stuff like that at patreon.com/propaganda report. And now I even have my Shopify.
Yes, you do.
So that's the-propaganda-report.shopify.com.
Is there a link on your website where if people can go to your website?
I just kind of baited it for my Patreons, but yeah, my website is undergoing construction. So I haven't put the link there yet, but I did tweet it and I Facebooked it. So go to my Facebook page.
I'll do it. There you go. Thank you, Daryl Jackson. Bye, Monica and Clint, he said. Hey, go check out, if you're on a podcast platform, just go put in, whether it's Apple, Spotify, whatever, During the Break podcast. I've put up 2 or 3 today. I've got that of, by, and for the people. I've interviewed CrossFit coaches I just interviewed one from, she's in Slovakia. I did one this morning with 2 relationship coaches. One's a divorce coach and one is a marriage counselor, therapist.
Oh, how do we find that?
You just go right here on my Facebook page.
I'm happily married, so in case the powers that be are listening for chink in the armor, that's not it.
No, we actually talked about, part of the conversation is things that people can do in a good marriage to keep it good. Because one of the things that happens with marriages or relationships is we take them for granted. So I love it when Monica speaks Italian.
Ciao, Bella.
Bye.